Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sean. If you're new here, thanks for checking out the channel. I usually do topics about personal finance, and I'm documenting my journey to financial freedom, and I do other self-improvement topics. Today I'm doing something a little bit different, and I'm talking about decluttering. Now, before you click away, this does actually relate to finances a little bit, so bear with me, but first I'm going to tell you a little bit about my day. So, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would maybe remember a story from about a year ago where I was going full Marie Kondo on this house, just decluttering, getting rid of stuff, anything that didn't spark joy. I was just getting rid of, putting in garbage bags and getting it out. What I didn't really say though at the time was that I actually do this about once or twice a year to kind of maintain and make sure things don't get out of hand as far as the stuff I have. Over the Christmas break, we actually started downstairs where we have a shelf. We just tidied that one up. And then it moved up here where we worked on getting this shelf nice and presentable. So here are some Marie Kondo tips that worked for me. First thing is take everything out and put it in a big pile in the middle of the room. So this goes for closets, for whatever. Just take everything out and put it in the middle. And what that does is just show you exactly how much stuff you have. Next, I would go through every item, and if I never used it, I would just put it in the bag right away. A trickier part was maybe some of the sentimental items. When I got to those, I would think about what I really wanted to keep, and let's say I had a souvenir from a trip that I really loved, I'd just keep one instead of multiple souvenirs from the same trip. So finally, I do this once a year, especially for papers. I go through that stuff on the shelf annually just to make sure things don't get forgotten, things don't get lost, and I don't end up swimming in a big pile of garbage after a couple of years. So papers especially, make sure you go through those every year. That brings me to this room, which is the closet. I especially struggle here. So after I've dumped out all my clothes, I do a few extra things here because I know that I tend to keep clothes and they kind of tend to pile up over time. But before I get into that, first, why even bother with decluttering in the first place? What's the big deal with this? Well, there's three good reasons that I think about doing decluttering all the time. First, a lot of this stuff can be sold. Maybe not clothes, but other stuff around the house that you may have paid a lot of money for can still be sold for some cash. Having stuff in your house isn't exactly an investment, but instead of it collecting dust, you could sell it, invest the money, and watch that collect some interest for you. Even if you can't sell something like clothes, think about just donating them. That shirt that you don't think too much of could be someone's favorite shirt, and that coat that you never use could keep someone else warm, so think about that. On top of that, think about, say, like a jacket that you get rid of. That jacket can go to someone else, which prevents that person from having to buy a jacket. So it's reusing an item you already have. It helps out the environment because a new jacket doesn't have to be made. That's like an environmental win-win double whammy there. All right, but I digress. Let's get to some sorting. So start taking everything out and put it in a pile. Ask yourself, does it fit? Is it worth keeping? Have I worn it lately? Is it damaged? Do I even like it anymore? Does it still look good? And if I don't like it, can I sell it? By the way, I do feel it's necessary to explain a couple things. So this rack over here, those are my shirts. Down here, these are all my, that's my wife's rack. Over here, over here, these pants are all my wife's, and these are all mine. So just want to make sure you're not getting the wrong impression here. I don't have all the clothes in this closet. So let's say you've done these steps. You've gone through all your clothes. You've whittled everything down to what you need and what sparks joy. How do you stay on top of it? Well, here are some tips that I use. First tip, stick to the same number of hangers. Don't go and buy more hangers because all you'll do is find clothes to put on those hangers. Which kind of leads me into the next tip, which is every time you buy something, don't just add it to your wardrobe. Replace something that's older from your wardrobe and donate that old thing. If you want to start whittling down how much clothes you do have, every time you buy, let's say, a shirt, try to donate 2 shirts, and then that extra hanger, just put it away so you don't put anything else on it. So this is my favorite tip. Take all of your hangers and flip them around so they're facing the other direction. So you can see how all my hangers, like the open side, are facing out. Now, as you go throughout your year and you start taking shirts off and wearing them, washing them, whatever, and putting them back on the hanger, you'll put them back the regular direction. So if after a year you look at your hangers and some of them are still flipped backwards, then you know you haven't worn that in a year, and you could just go ahead and donate that. Something else that might prevent you from throwing some of this stuff away is you're thinking about almost a return on investment. Like, I know that sometimes you'll be buying accessories, especially if you or your spouse are into purses and shoes, and you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be a collectible or it might gain value over time. If you really think that's the case, think about taking that money and just buying a stock of that company and holding on to that for 15 years rather than holding on to a purse or a pair of shoes. It takes up less space and is probably more likely to gain value. One last thing that I find that helps is if I'm having a really tough time deciding if something should be given away, I put it up on a shelf or I put it in a bag, like a garbage bag under the closet. It's almost like purgatory for my clothes. It kind of stays there, and same thing, if after 6 months or a year I haven't reached for that bag, I just take that bag and donate it, knowing that those are clothes I'm probably not gonna miss. So if you follow these tips, you'll stay on top of all the clothing that you have and your closet won't be overflowing. And as life goes on and styles change and maybe you transition to more workwear and less casual wear, you'll be able to adapt while not collecting any more clothes than you need. And for me, it helps me avoid falling back into my old ways. If you follow this financially, it'll hopefully help you out because you'll be buying less, you'll be able to make a little bit of side cash, and you'll get more use out of the things that you keep. So you'll be getting your money's worth out of those things. That means you're using your stuff more efficiently, and that's really the end goal. On top of that, you're helping out the environment and other people by donating your stuff. If that's not enough, Psychology Today also has an article, I'll leave a link in the description, it has an article about how being clean and tidy actually helps with your mental state. It's better for your mental health, helps you focus. It actually cites that clutter makes it difficult for you to focus on tasks. And on top of that, it correlates a clean and tidy environment with fighting depression and better physical health. Okay, it's time for me to get off my soapbox. But if you guys like this video and want me to do a little bit more about minimalism, I've been thinking it really goes hand in hand with managing money wisely. They complement each other very well. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. Until next time, have a great week, spread the wealth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right guys, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Hey, if you like this video, kind of about decluttering, minimalism, and that kind of subject, come on, Sean, God.